Hey guys, Snoozy here, and today we'll be doing Season 7 of the Phoenix Strike Assassin. It's one of my favorite builds. I absolutely love it on Project D2 here. So if you're looking for Diablo 2 Resurrected content, check the other videos out on my channel. This won't work there. This is for the mod called Project D2, and it's currently on Season 7. This is one of my favorite builds, and we do have another video from a couple seasons ago where we built the same build, but we built it out different. I was actually inspired by looking at the ladder of another assassin on there called Natalia's Odium, and kind of followed what they were doing with the gear, and I kind of thought, oh, it's a meme. And as I built it out jokingly, I kind of really liked it. I liked it a lot better than the standard build, and we'll get into what the standard build is too. But I pretty much took at what the Natalia Odom was doing, which was the full Nat set, and then kind of started tweaking it into how I would build it using the Nat set. And there's a couple reasons for that. And if we're looking at the gear here, and you look at the actual stats, you're getting that 3 to Assassin, 10% dual leech, 350 defense. The 50 to all res is really nice, but the big thing is going to be that 20% physical damage taken reduced by 20%. Between that and a Stormshield, we're almost at the cap of that 50% damage reduction, which makes us pretty tanky. And once I started going through the numbers on that, and you get the poison length reduction, it's really nice. You're not going to pull out the big damage that you would with a standard build, but I feel like this is a lot easier to play and a lot more on autopilot. Like, I'll just hold right click running through maps and let the assassin do her thing. I feel a lot more squishy with the standard build, but with that standard build, you are going to do a lot more damage. And once you start getting like these insane corruptions for the standard build, that's probably still going to be the better way of playing for most people. But if you want to look like an actual assassin, you want to look really cool, you want to do something that's a lot cheaper, check out this build. It's really cheap. You'll see that there's going to be like facets and corruptions that are specific, but realistically, I started this build with just a random nat set with random corruptions, and I was able to get into tier 1 maps pretty much as soon as I could do the claw. So you don't need these facets, you don't need these corruptions, you don't need all of this stuff. It'll work fine without them. It's just how to push it a little bit further. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get straight into the gear. And we're going to be using the Nat's Claw here. This is more of a temporary claw. Ideally, I would do 3 5/5 lightning facets in there because we're going to be primarily building this as a lightning damage. However, when I originally was getting my gear together, I put the Shale Rune in there because I believed I needed it for a breakpoint. I want to recalculate this and see. It's going to be really important depending on the corruptions you're getting, or if you change out the belt, or if you don't like the amulet and you want to use something like a High Lords. You can move your attack speed around, but the most important thing is that you're going to be getting your breakpoint here. You want to get this as high as you can, and you might be able to cut some more out depending on the level of burst of speed that you're using. So realistically, this is a guide, but I want you to also look at how much attack speed you have. What is your level of burst of speed? Can you cut some attack speed out? Maybe you don't need that Shale Rune. End game, I would really like to get that Shale Rune out and be able to put another 5/5 facet in there. For the helmet, since we're doing the Nat set, we're going to go ahead with the Nat Helm. It's garbage, honestly. I don't really like the stats on here. It doesn't make much sense to me. The helmet slot generally is a very powerful one. You have Shaco, Nightwing, Griffins. You have all these big helms. I mean, even Steel Shades, like what? 2 to all skills with block and faster block. Like the helm slot's a power slot, let's be honest. And this doesn't have skills. But we're going for the full set, so since we're using the full set, it's mandatory. And to talk about this a little bit here, you do get some all res. The perfect topazes are placeholders, better than nothing. So they're just in there until I can get a better helmet. What I'm looking for is either a +1 to all skill corruption or it cannot be frozen. I'm leaning more towards the all +1 all skills. So hopefully I can get that corruption soon and then try to get 2 sockets on it with a puzzle box. So we'll see if we can actually get that, but that's kind of my thought process of where I want to take the build. Amulet, nothing real special here. It is just 2 to assassins. I got the faster run walk just to clear a little bit more. And then life mana, life after each kill, and fire res were just happy accidents. So yeah, you're looking for plus skills here and then some quality of life like faster run walk and stuff like that. But life resistances, life after kill, stuff like that's really nice. While we do a little bit of physical damage, the life after kill is nice to have on this, because primarily we're going to be an elemental damage build, which life leech doesn't really work great on. We are going to be using the Nats armor. Like, yeah, we're doing that set, so why wouldn't we? On Project D2 here, your sockets and the Shadow Disciplines can vary. You want to get a 3 to Shadow Discipline, 3 socket. If you can't afford that, and depending on when you're playing the ladder, you can get these for like 2 Worldstone shards, 3 worlds. They're really cheap. That was for like the 3 to Shadow Discipline, 3 socket. If you have to, just get a random garbage one just to get you up and running, right? It's not a huge deal. You can replace it later. Really, any of this Nat set stuff, you can use at the bottom of the barrel and still get going. But end game here, we're gonna do 3 lightning facets in here. Same for the helmet. I forgot to mention we will put lightning facets in there. With a possibility, and I'm still debating if I want to do this, is maybe split the lightning facets with cold facets to help deal with some of these lightning immunes. I haven't decided, but generally any of these open sockets on any of this gear, I'm trying to put facets in. For the Stormshield, working on getting a slammed Stormshield with +1 to all skills and try to puzzle box it into 2 open sockets. The 2 open sockets we will be putting in the facets, either lightning or cold, not quite sure. Gloves, simple, 3 to martial arts, 20 attack speed. You could do 2 to martial arts, 20 attack speed with different mods on there, like a rare glove. If you can make that attack speed up and still hit your breakpoint, you can drop it off the gloves if you figure out a way. But generally, it's a nice easy 20% right there. Standard Ravenfrost for the Cannot Be Frozen. If we get the Cannot Be Frozen slam on the helmet, we'll end up using like a Bull Cathis or a Whispering here instead, since we don't need the Cannot Be Frozen anymore. We're using Arachnids for +1. Realistically, before this I was using String of Ears, which was really nice. But it's not necessary. I like the +1 skills because you do get a little bit more damage in there, and Dungos would also be another choice here. This is a dual leech ring with a attack rating bonus and a physical damage reduction slam and a little bit of magic find. Realistically, I just had this because I needed some attack rating. Extra leech was nice. Didn't really have anything better. But that physical damage slam does put me over the 50% because this is 20 from the set and then 28 from the Stormshield I have. So that 3 will take me to 51, so I'm overcapped by 1. Try to get that 50%. It's really nice to have. But realistically, I will most likely drop this for a Wisp or a BK ring as well, once we get a little bit more currency. For the boots, we're going to go with Nat set here. Up to you on what you want the slam to be. There's some max res options and stuff that you can get. That'd be quite nice. I haven't gotten to replacing these yet. Swap, you're going to do a +2 to all skills. Live this. This is only a +1. Just haven't found a +2 yet. And I don't have a Call to Arms yet. This would be Call to Arms if I had one, but I do not. For your charms, it's going to be as simple. You're going to get an Annihilus charm, whatever you can get. Torch, same thing, whatever you can get. I generally prioritize the resistances over these, and these are just the cheapest ones when I could buy them. These could be upgraded for more resistances, especially once we start taking the P Diamond out of the Storm Shield, or get a lower resistances on the helmet, but with the slams we want. Charms, you're going to use Martial Art Lifers or Martial Art Faster Hit Recovery. I don't have my Faster Hit Recovery breakpoints like I want. I will be replacing these plain ones with some Faster Hit Recoveries once I can afford them. Or you can make them up here. These are just generally life, run, walk, resistances to make sure I'm capped. But you could fit in some Faster Hit Recovery up here as well, trying to hit your breakpoints. And I'm going to try to aim for the 65 once I start doing my charms. But realistically, if you can get any in there, you're doing better than me. I'm not doing great on hit recovery. I can still do tier 3 maps with it, but it can be a little bit iffy if you start getting hit, especially on maps that have like the minus faster hit recovery. So do try to do that. Don't be me. Do better with it. On top of that, we have our stats, just enough strength to wear your Storm Shield, which is your heaviest piece. This is 156 strength. Dex for max block. When you level up, you might want to check this, see if you are at max block. If not, you can put a couple more points in there, and the rest will go into vitality. For the Mercenary, we're going to be using Vampire's Gaze for the physical damage reduction. If you don't care so much about that, you could put Andes in here and getting some attack speed to try to hit breakpoints. Leviathan again for physical damage reduction, just trying to keep him alive the best we can. And String of Ears for more physical damage reduction and life leech. We're using some Tri-Res boots to up his resistances. Has half freeze duration, which is kind of nice. Still got to work on his gear though because he is not resistance capped. Laying of Hands is a pretty quick and easy thing for your mercenary. They're great gloves. They got nice fire resistance on them. I am looking at trying to get in the Lava Gout gloves just for the enchant procs to see how much that helps. And then finally, we're going to be using Infinity. Since we're doing fire, lightning, physical, and cold, it helps for all of them. Realistically, don't worry about the minus enemy lightning resistances if you're using it on a mercenary. That does not apply. The base, probably Mancatcher or Thresher is what I'd recommend. This is just the cheapest one that I could buy when I went to look for them. But that Conviction Aura is going to help with all 3 types of your elemental, and it'll also help with your physical damage, getting your attacks to land. Now, for those of you that don't like this and would rather a more meta build, your helmet's going to be Akira's Guardian, which gives you the Cannot Be Frozen and a bunch of resistances, and the minus to enemy resistances of the 3 elements, plus faster hit recovery. This is an insane helmet for this build. It's absolutely bonkers how good this is. So if you don't want to use the Nat set and you want to go with a more traditional, this is going to be your helmet. It's hard to beat this. You're going to use your Bartuks. You're going to dual wield them. And that'll give you a total, with just the claws, you're looking at 8 to martial arts, which is a huge amount of damage. On top of that, you're getting 20 strength, 20 dex for each of those claws, which means you're going to be putting less points into strength and less points into dex. So you're going to need a lot more into health. You're going to have a bigger health pool than I have because you're not putting so many points into other stats. You're going to use your Arcane's Valor just for the +2 skills, the faster hit recovery, and a ton of vitality. So really nice armor, really cheap. This stuff right now in middle of season 7, really cheap to buy. Realistically, I see a lot of people going ahead and putting facets in these gears as well. That's up to you. Realistically, you'll have more damage than I do just by using these because you're going to gain, 8 and then 10. So you'll gain 10 more skills there. And right here, right now, I'm only getting the +3 from this. And then once I get the slam, +4. So you'll have 6 more skill points in the Phoenix Strike by wearing this gear here. Not to mention you're going to have bonkers faster hit recovery. You won't have to worry about it like I do. So this is the cheap starter set. Really, if you want to get going with the more traditional set. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into the skills. So the skills are pretty simple here. What we're going to end up doing is doing the Phoenix Strike. And you're going to max this first. And then depending which element you want to be strongest next, you'll max either Blades of Ice, Claws of Thunder, or Fist of Fire. My recommendation is going to be Claws of Thunder because primarily I'm building this as lightning and it really helps with your clear. But you can build these in any order you want. If you are leveling up, Fist of Fire is really strong for leveling up if you're going martial arts, if you don't want to level as the Wake of Fire with Assassin. 1 point in the Dragonflight, so we get our quick teleport. Really nice for getting through River of Flame if you want to run the Chaos Sanctuary. Since we are wearing the Nat set, we're not able to wear Enigma to get Blink. You could use like a Naj Staff or something on your offhand to get Blink to go down there. Up to you. Shadow Discipline here, we got 1 point in pretty much everything. Now I will state Venom is useless pretty much. Like look at the damage on there, who cares at that point. Just do it because it looks cool. I would drop the point out of Venom if you're trying to be as efficient as possible. I personally like Shadow Master just to have an extra tank or decoy. You could drop this as well. Mind Blast is another one after playing the build I'd probably drop. Cloak of Shadows I find amazing. Really nice if you got like a group of archers clumped up in a corner that have like Fanat and Might. And you got some nasty physical to elemental mods on your maps. Cloak of Shadows can help you deal with that. I would highly recommend a point into the Cloak of Shadows, but if you don't want to, you could drop a point out of Psychic Hammer, Cloak of Shadows, Mind Blast, Shadow Warrior, Shadow Master, and Venom. And then I would recommend putting them into Claw and Dagger Mastery for some more attack rating and damage, or you could put it into Burst of Speed for a little bit more run walk. Traps, I just like the way it looks. Blade Shield, not necessary. You want high performance, drop all 3. More points for you. Really not needed. That said, we're going to go ahead and go into Chaos and just kind of show the mechanics a little bit. Summon the Shadow Master, buff ourselves up, and off we go. And as you can see, it's a little bit different than the Diablo 2 Resurrected here, right? Instead of the Diablo 2 Resurrected method, it's casting each one of these as we build up the charges. So we're not actually using any of the spenders like the kicks, other than the Dragonflight, but we're only using the Dragonflight primarily just for that quick teleport. And it does pretty well, and I understand that this is, you know, player 1, Chaos Sanctuary, and Project E2, like most builds can do this pretty easily, right? But it's a nice farming spot, you get good loot out of here, and it's kind of showcase that even with the nat set, it clears like decently well. And it's just a really fun laid-back build. If you, like I said, if you wanted to use the other more traditional gear set, you're going to do more damage, you're going to fly through here a little bit quicker. Because you will get a total of 6 skill point advantage over me, right? And Phoenix Strike scales really well with the plus martial arts. So realistically, you could probably ladder start this, leveling with the Fist of Fire and moving on. Generally, I level my assassins as trappers though, and then transition into the Phoenix Strike later on in the ladder. Usually on like day 3 or 4 or something like that, once I get a little bit of currency. And that's mostly because I would prioritize, definitely now, I'd prioritize getting the nat set because of how strong it realistically is. I always kind of frowned upon it, you know, kind of thought it was in there for the memes. And looking on the ladder and seeing Natalia's Odium pushing it, I think he was like 97 or something when I saw his build. And looking at it, I'm going, wow, that's actually kind of interesting. I wonder how well that works. And that's when I started building it out and really playing with it here. Our single tank damage isn't great. This is more of a map clearer, as you can see. Even on player 1, it does take a little bit. And Diablo dropped nothing for us. But that is the Phoenix Strike Assassin. It's a really fun build. It's budget friendly. Like I said, you really don't need these facets to really get in there. You're good to go. There's nothing really too expensive that you need to get this build up and running. Nat set, String of Ears here, a Raven Frost for Cannot Be Frozen, plus skills there, and a Stormshield. It's easy, right? I mean, Anni and Torch are going to be the hardest ones on ladder start, but even then, they're not really needed. They're just plus skills. You also have on top of that, which is nice for the ladder start, is your Phoenix Strike here. The Charge 3, the Chaos Ice Bolts, they will freeze for like, what is it, 0.5 seconds or something like that for most mobs if they're not immune to cold. So it's really nice. You can kind of lock up big groups of monsters there, and it makes it a lot harder for them to hit you. And then, like I was saying, the Cloak of Shadows is so nice. It's insane. Let's see if we can go up here. Does this have anything? Yeah. See how they threw at me? Now they have the Cloak of Shadow. That one doesn't have it, which is why he's throwing it, and now they throw. Really nice to have, especially like if you have a big pack of archers that are getting spooky, man. I'm telling you, Cloak of Shadows and off you go. The other thing you need to make sure is make sure you keep up your burst of speed. Right now, with the way my stats are set, if I lose my burst of speed, I lose a breakpoint. So really important that you're watching your breakpoints. Like I said, I'm trying to get the Shale Rune out of here. I'm not even sure if I need it anymore. I need to run it through an enhanced attack speed calculator and see. But definitely make sure you're hitting the highest breakpoint you can. And I think you're really going to have fun. This build really comes online once you get that Infinity. However, I got that Infinity a day ago maybe. And I think I built this Assassin about a week ago. It was fine in tier 1 maps without this. It really cut down my time. Tier 1 to tier 3 maps, I average anywhere from like 8 to probably 15 minutes. I could really cut down that 15-minute one probably. If I roll a map bad or play poorly, it can push into 20 minutes. So this build, like I said, isn't going to be the fastest mapper in the world because we are losing a lot of our plus skills, but it's really cheap. And the really nice thing is, after you outgrow the nat set and you really don't want it anymore, go into the traditional if you want. You're a little bit squishier in my opinion. I don't like it as much, but I mean, it gets the job done. The playstyle will be exactly the same except for you deal more damage. So if you haven't played an assassin, I really recommend it. It's quickly become one of my favorite builds on Project E2. This is coming from a sorceress main. I usually play sorceresses every single season, all the time. But Phoenix Strike Assassin has quickly become one of my favorites, and I highly recommend it. So, as always, if you have any questions, comments, ideas, please put them in the comments of the video. I really do read all of them and try to get back to you as soon as I can with them. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys learned something, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.